Good evening. Two women have spoken of the terrifying moment they returned to their homes and were confronted by a burglar. Hampshire police think the same men that targeted them could be behind a dozen similar raids across the county. The first happened on September the 10th. The most recent was on Tuesday. 4 of them have been at properties in Chandler's Ford. Richard Slee has more.
So I walked around the corner of the house and shouted hello, thinking maybe the delivery man was there.
When Karen Lake saw a motorbike parked in her driveway when she came home to Fordingbridge one afternoon last week, she presumed it was a courier who was dropping off a parcel. Then, just as she noticed her alarm had been activated, a man appeared wearing a helmet from the side of the house.
The helmet just walked calmly past me and out through the gate. I was astonished. I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was having a delivery and a guy was just, walking past me in full motorbike gear.
Another man appeared from behind a hedge and they drove off. When Karen went inside, she saw she'd been the victim of a break-in, and despite her dogs being in the house, she lost a diamond ring and a watch.
I'm really cross, actually. They've come in and they've, broken into my house, and they've been through lots of my stuff, my children's stuff. They've been through pulled out all the drawers and taken some jewellery, my grandmother's engagement ring.
The first of the 12 burglaries was at an address in Chandler's Ford. They're being linked by the police because evidence gathered from CCTV and witnesses reveal the men use stolen motorbikes and target mainly large detached homes, gaining entry by smashing windows or doors at the rear. This increase in the number of house burglaries in rural parts of Hampshire and the New Forest have led the police to increase their patrols, and they're also asking for the public to be much more vigilant.
If they see any people on motorcycles, especially 2 people, acting in a suspicious manner, is to report it to us straight away. If urgent, 999, or use the 101 number. We're appealing to the public to help us to trace these suspects in regards to these incidents.
With dogs and alarms apparently no deterrent to these burglars, the police hope that with the public's help they will be caught soon. Richard Slee, ITV News.
And for more information on that police appeal, please go to our website itv.com/Meridian. In other news, a man's been jailed for the manslaughter of a man in Basingstoke. Dean Evans, who was 31, was stabbed in the stomach outside his house in Benham Road last October. He later died in hospital. 20-year-old Liam Darville will serve 11 years in a young offenders institution. 50 firefighters from across Dorset and Wiltshire tackled a barn fire last night. Hundreds of tons of hay and straw were inside the barn near Cranbourne. The Ryder Arena, the Isle of Wight's only ice rink, closed unexpectedly today with bailiffs entering the building. The ice rink posted on its Facebook page that it's trying to resolve a dispute with the landlord. The rink only reopened 2 months ago following major repairs. The venue was taken over by a community group last year. 3 days of strike action on Southern Rail will go ahead next week after last-ditch peace talks between the company and union leaders broke down earlier. Passengers in Sussex, Surrey and Hampshire are being warned of 14 days of disruption over the next 2 months. This was the reaction outside Brighton station.
My daughter's got a hospital appointment which we're going to have to cancel because of that, and just wish it could be sorted out.
I pay nearly £5,000 for my season ticket. And you have to ask yourself, what am I paying for? The service is poor, it's always delayed. I have to get up at 5:30 to get to work. It's just not acceptable.
I'm with the conductors and I'm with them because unit for safety. Look at me, I'm disabled. Anything happens, who's going to help me?
Can't believe in this day and age we haven't got a functioning railway system. It's pathetic.
Well, Southern says it will now impose the changes which will see drivers closing train doors from January. Guards will now have the option of agreeing to the new terms or losing their jobs. Our transport correspondent Mike Pearce sent this earlier.
Well, both sides came to the peace talks here in central London, but after 3 hours they broke down. The RMT unions say they put forward new proposals they hoped might settle the dispute, but they say they were rejected by Southern. They say the company also rejected new peace talks at ACAS. Now, the companies say there was nothing new in what the RMT was suggesting, so they will now go ahead and implement their plans. They say if staff do not agree to the new working conditions from January, effectively they'll be putting themselves out of a job. Of course, all this centres on the role of the guard. The company want train drivers to close train doors, not guards. The unions say that will not be safe and they want them to continue doing that. As things stand tonight, next week's 3-day strike is on.
Very disappointing. We're in a situation where our members now are going to have to continue to fight for their jobs, and I hope Southern don't issue those sacking notices tomorrow, because that would be an absolute disgrace. These are ordinary working people who are fighting to keep a safe and efficient railway.
My request to the RMT is you can call these strikes off. That's within your gift. You need to do that.
You won't move, they won't move.
But it's this method of operation with the driver having sole responsibility for operating the train is a safe method of operation. We have said where there is a second person on the train today, there will be that person going forward, and to bring this to an end, we just need to make that happen now.
Well, Southern say it will do everything possible next week to run as many trains as possible, and on some routes buses will replace trains. But for passengers, things could not be worse. 3 days of strikes next week. Mike Pearce, ITV News, Central London.
The organisers of the Isle of Wight Festival say they may be forced to move the event unless they can hire the site for free. Solo Promoters Limited want the current £55,000 fee to hire Sea Close Park in Newport waived by the council. The request will be considered next week. Brighton and Hove Albion fans could soon stand to watch their team play at the Amex Stadium. The club has confirmed they are looking at the possibility of installing a safe standing area if the government changes the current rules. Fans will also be invited to take part in a consultation. One of Brighton's most famous landmarks, the West Pier, has been illuminated to mark its 150th anniversary. The pier opened to the public in 1866 but closed in 1975, falling into disrepair. It was almost completely destroyed by 2 fires in 2003. There are calls to save the pier and preserve it as a work of art. And finally tonight, former Southampton footballer Matt Le Tissier and his wife Angela were match winners last night when they won £30,000 for Naomi House Hospice. They won ITV's Mr. and Mrs. Show and hit the jackpot when Matt correctly guessed who his wife's childhood crush had been, his former Saints teammate Mickey Adams.
I've narrowed it down to 2, I think.
What you going to go with?
I'm going to go with Mickey Adams.
Yeah! I tell you what.
I hope, thank God he's not watching this program.
You hope. And everyone at Naomi House near Winchester was thrilled to watch Mr. and Mr. Le Tissier triumph. The hospice, of course, helps youngsters from across the south, and they told us the unexpected windfall will be put to great use.
£30,000 is a great sum for us, and it can go to a range of things to support children and families here at Naomi House and Jack's Place. We can spend that on nurses' salaries, we can take children out for days out in our minibuses. Matt and Angela, thanks ever so much for everything you do for us and for your years of support. We really do appreciate it.
Well, let's take a look at the weather now with all the details. Here's Simon.
From sleet to the slopes, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Good evening. Well, you'll be pleased to know it shouldn't get too nippy tonight, but you might still need your bed socks if you haven't risked putting the heating on just yet. As for tomorrow, well, there will be a fair bit of cloud around, some bright or sunny spells, but also the chance of catching an odd shower here and there, though the general plan is for things to stay relatively settled. The low pressure is staying way out to the west. The high pressure up towards the northeast is going to stay with us through tomorrow, through Saturday, and then into Sunday. But going around that high pressure, we've got a wind coming from the northeast, and that's going to bring with it a bit more cloud and the risk of an odd shower here and there, which is the plan overnight tonight. Mostly overcast. You can see the blue flecks over the sea, one or two over the land. That means there could be an odd shower, though many of us will stay dry. And the temperatures tonight will generally up into double figures, maybe a 7 or 8 in some rural spots. And then tomorrow, again, a few showers here and there. Short-lived, fairly few and far between, and most of us will stay dry. You'll also notice quite a lot of cloud cover on our map, but there will be some bright or sunny spells. It shouldn't be too breezy either. We're looking at 10 miles an hour inland, probably around 15 miles an hour along the coast.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
And that's it for now. We're back during Good Morning Britain from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Join Amanda for that. But from the late team, thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.